SmartCAM 2-axis WireEDM example. Today we're going to cut this part. The start holes are already modeled in the stock for this. We can look at the job information. We can see that we have the things about the part. We're going to be doing an example 2-axis WireEDM machine. We've picked the default material. And then for work setup, we've got a stock layer of 900 and a void layer of 901. So if we hit preview on this, you can see that we have our start holes already modeled in the part. It looks like the slots are in the center of the slots. The round holes are right in the center of the round holes, and so on. We can look at our planner, and we're going to rough all of the holes and the perimeter. Then we're going to do 2 skim passes around the outside of the part. And then at the end, we'll create some code. So let's start with first. Wire is not a solid modeling CAM solution, but we can extract things from solid models. And we're going to start by extracting the wireframe from this model. First thing we have to do is to figure out how thick this part is, and I can right-click this top surface of the solid model and select element data. And then we can see that it's a 1/4 inch thick. Let's get our wireframe, and we'll stick it on a CAD layer, which is good for input geometry, which is what we'll use it for, but it's also good for fixtures and text, notes, and that sort of thing. Let's do it on an unused layer. If we look in the list, we can see that layer 3 is unused, so let's pick layer 3. We've already determined that the thickness is a 1/4 inch, so let's turn on profile top, and we'll enter in 1/4 inch. Now what we're going to do is we're going to slice a piece of geometry and put it on from the solid model and put it on layer 3. Well, we can do that by under create from solid slice. I like using the toolbars, so I'm going to create from solid slice, and we can pick any surface on the solid. So I'll pick just the top surface. We want our Z level to be at 0. So that's what this is. The Z level is at 0, and the prof top will be a 1/4 inch. So if we just hit go, if you watch this edge, you'll see that it appears. So we've got some wireframe geometry, and it also shows up in the list here. So let's go ahead and hide our solid model now. So I can right-click anywhere on the solid model and then hide layer step. And there's our wireframe geometry. Let's go ahead and get a top view. So I'm going to go to my view bar and get a top view. And we've already determined that our start holes are in the center of each of the slots and in the dead center of each of the round holes. I guess the first thing we need to do is to make sure that everything is going in the right direction, for instance. So I can right-click out in the G view and select all. I can also use the group toolbar and select all here. And then by default, we have the color and arrows set up for what grouped elements look like. And we can see that the outer profile is going clockwise, which would mean the offset for the toolpath would be on the left. The inner profiles, so the offset would be on the left on all of the inner profiles. Looks like all of them. So Slice did a pretty good job there. But let's say that we wanted to make our offset right on everything. While we have everything in the active group, we can go to order path. We can use group direction. And right now, everything is going well, the outer part is going clockwise. So let's say that we want to change clockwise, and that'll be offset left. So let's change everything to where offset will be on the right. So that means we want everything to go, outer profiles going counterclockwise. And if I just hit go without alternate nested, but just hit go, the only thing that changes is the outer profile. So now it's going counterclockwise. The inner profile is already going counterclockwise, so it didn't need to do anything there. So the outer profile is offset right, all the inner profiles are offset left. I want them all to match. Just makes things easier. So I'm going to click alternate nested. And then when I hit go, then it switches. Now everything is offset right. So the inner profiles are offset right, even the round holes. So that's good. The other thing is that we need to change where the start of these slots, where the profile starts, because our start hole is right in the center of these slots. These are two arcs. This is an arc, this is an arc. So both of them go right by the center point. So we have to create a center point by splitting either the top or the bottom. So we'll split these inner profiles in two. And then we'll change the start of those profiles to be the element on this side. So let's start with GeoEdit. And you can find that under Edit, GeoEdit, Split, or like I say, I like using the toolbar, and Split. And let's set up our panel to where it's an element division. And we're going to do 50% of the part, and we'll make a 0 gap width. Then we can start picking elements. Note that the asterisk shows up on element when I click that field. That means as soon as I pick an element, it's going to do its thing. So if I come up and I click this element, you can see that it split the two. So now we've got a little arrow on either side. So let's go ahead and do that on the others. And we don't need to do really anything on the round holes, because we'll just start in the center of the round hole, and then it'll go to wherever the start is on the round hole. Anyway. Okay, so we've split these, but we haven't made this element or this element or this one or this one the start of the profile. So we need to make the first element the start of the profile. If we were to do a right-click element data, we would want to see this top line right here say start prof. So let's go ahead. A couple of ways of doing this. We can right-click this element and make it the start prof. And actually, you can see the bow tie because we're at the end of the database. The bow tie here shows that that's the start end of the profile. We can also right-click element data, and now it shows that it's the start of the profile. And when you have several to do, another way of going about this would be order path, profile start, and then you can just pick the elements. So I'm going to pick this element. I want this element to be the start of this profile, this element to be the start of that profile, and that one to be the start of that one. Okay, so now you need to change all of this to toolpath. Like I said, everything will be offset to the right. The level, I'm going to right-click element data, any one of the elements, and we can see that the profile top is 1/4 inch, the level Z0. So we're looking good there. The only thing is that it's layer geometry. So let's go to edit property change toolpath. I like using the icon, the button bar, toolbar. And we'll change this to toolpath, and we're going to use our first step, which is the roughing step, step 10. Our offset will be right. And we don't need to do anything else on this. NC means no change, so we're not changing anything on the clear of the prof top. The level stays where it's at, and all of that. So now we hit accept. Let's get an ISO view of this. And then let's do a verify Toolpath. Let's slow this down just a little. I'm going to turn on the stock. This is the toggle stock button. And you can see the start holes are all modeled in here. We have no lead ins yet. We're going to get there. So you'll notice that the wire just starts in the middle of the material. But let's take a look. So, oh, it's cutting the outside first. That's not good. Then it does the round holes. Then it does the slots starting in the middle like we wanted. Okay, so we need to change the order. Let's do that first. Let's change the order of the toolpath. We want the outside cut last. So we'll get a top view. Then let's do a select none, so I can go out in the G view, the graphics view, and select none. You can also use it on the group toolbar. But let's pick these profiles in the order that we want them cut. And this time I'm going to use my profile picker. I'm going to turn that on and I'm going to pick the profiles in the order that I want them cut. So I'm going to start with this one. So the profile picker picks the entire profile. And then I'll pick this one, and on around in some sort of a logical order. And the outer profile. So now I can go to order path, and that'll be under edit, order path. I like using the toolbar. And then we're going to use sequence move. So we're going to move the sequence of things. So under sequence move, we have an option of by group selection sequence. So I want it to move the things around so that it's put in the order that I picked them. So if I hit go now, and then we go back to the ISO view, and then verify. And when I hit play, you'll see that it does it in the order that I asked. Okay, so now let's put our leads. Go back to a top view. So the start holes for the slots are in the dead center of the slots, and the start holes for the round holes are in the dead center of the round holes. So let's go ahead and go to geometry edit, lead in and out. And for the slots, let's do under more, first let's determine what the width of these slots are. And I can go to utility, measure. And then if I pick the end point of that, the center point of that, I can see that it's 1/8 inch, so we want 0.0625. So if I go to more, then I can make the line length 0.0625, and it'll be a 90-degree off of wherever it's going to start. We'll do the lead out, we'll match whatever the lead in was, so that's good. So now I can pick an element and then hit go. And you can see the lead in now is at the very center of that slot. I'll zoom in a little bit. You can see the lead in will now be there. So let's go ahead and do that to the other slots. This isn't changing the order, just adding the lead in. So I pick that element. I can see that element. And you could actually pick any element in the profile. Okay, so now we've got the slots done. So let's go to classic for the round holes. We'll turn on a reference point, and then the reference point we want, let's say for this one, will be X minus 0.25, and the Y is 2.5, and then we'll pick the element here, and then it sticks the lead in from the center of the hole. Because the minus quarter inch and quarter inch is the dead center of the holes. So now we can change the X to quarter inch. And pick that hole. Change this to minus quarter inch. That hole, minus quarter inch. That'll be that hole. Now we can go back to parametric, and let's just pick the outer profile. This time we're going to hit go, and puts our profile there. So let's go ahead and verify this. Okay, so let's go ahead and stick some skim passes on this. So I'm going to do a select none. You can right click out here and select none, or you can use the group toolbar. And then let's put the outer profile in the active group. Remember, we're going to stick 2 skim passes on. So we'll have the rough, and then 2 skim passes. So under 2-axis wire, we have skim cuts. Okay, so our roughing step was already step 10. So the first step of the skim cuts will be step 20. And then the second step of the skim cuts will be step 30. And then we'll hit go. And then let's verify that. There it is. Okay, so let's go ahead and create some code for this. So if we go to create NC code, we've already picked, when on the dialog, the machine has not undefined. That means that we have a machine set up. And I'm just going to pick the default name here. I'm going to open the code file just so we can look at it before we end this video. And create code. And then there's the code file. So, the SmartCAM Advanced WireEDM. Thank you for watching.